There, fourth grade. It is good to see you again this week. Just as a review, I am Mr. Kowalski, and I'm going to be giving you guys your fourth grade music lesson for this week, picking up on where we left off last week. Now, last week we got a chance to do some review and talk about this symbol up here. If you remember, we talked about the treble, clef, and the staff last week. We got a chance to talk about the 5 lines that make up the staff, the 4 spaces that make up the staff, and this treble clef symbol that sits on the staff. And we said last week, through a little bit of a story that I told you guys, we said last week that each one of these lines and each one of these spaces has a letter name that matches with it. Last week we told that story about all those weird people that lived in the apartment building, if you remember that one. Right, we talked about how when we pretended the staff was an apartment building that people could move into and different characters lived in on each one of those floors in the apartment building. And then as we got towards the end of the story and all the letters got into their places on the lines and spaces, I gave you guys a couple of tricks to remember where the letter names were on the lines and spaces. Does anybody out there possibly remember the name of the word that we use to remember the letters that were in the spaces of the treble clef? I gave you a little rhyme. I said, if you want to know the space, you spell the word face. Yeah, that's right. F-A-C-E. If you want to know the space, you spell the word face. So you can start at the bottom. Now remember, we always start at the bottom of the staff. It's like counting those floors that go up through the apartment building. We start on the bottom of the staff, and the first space is always letter F. The second space in the treble clef is always letter A. Third space is letter C. And the fourth space is letter E. Now, just for the point of our story to be able to see them easily, I line them up over here on this side. But remember, like we said last week, that E can go anywhere across this top space and still be letter E because it's still the fourth space from the bottom. That C can go anywhere side to side in this space. Remember, that C can go anywhere side to side because it's still the third space from the bottom. All right, so you can go side to side in that. I just like to line them up there so we can easily see F-A-C-E, face. Now, there was also a sentence that I gave you last week to remember the letter names that go on the lines of the treble clef. That sentence made it a little easier to remember what those letters were, and that sentence was right here. It was one that said, every good boy does fine. Yeah, let's take a look at that sentence one more time. Again, it said, every good boy does fine. And if we take the first letter of each one of those words, every was E, and E went on the bottom line of the staff. That first line is always E on the treble clef. G for good is always on the second line, and we said last week, G is always going to be where that curly Q part of the treble clef always is. Wherever that curly Q makes that circle and swirl, that's where G goes. So every good. The third line up is B for boy, right there, Mr. B from last week. Okay, the fourth line up was letter D that went on that line right there, and the fifth line way up there at the top was Dr. F from the story, if you remember. So if you look at those lines, we have every good boy does fine. First line E, second line G, third line B, fourth line D, and fifth line F. Okay. Take a look back at the spaces for review. Spell that word face. First space F, second space A, third space C, fourth space E. Now that's the easy review part. Now we're going to make it a little bit trickier. They've all disappeared. Magic. Okay. Now we have an empty staff up here on the board, but we've got this note head. Okay. This round part of the note is what we call the note head, and this round part doesn't have a letter on it either. Your job is going to be to figure out which letter this note head is that goes up there on the staff. I'm going to tell you how we're going to do that. Ready? For example, let's say that this note head decides it's going to jump all the way up here and live right there on that line. So our first step to figure out what the letter name is we have to figure out, is that note on a line or in a space? Now, if you look at this one, we can see that the line goes right through the middle of it. And since the line goes right through the middle of it, it's sitting right on top of that line. Okay, that's how those notes work. If the line goes right through the middle of the note, it's sitting right on top of that line. Whether it's down here on the first line or all the way up here on the top line, the fifth one down up there, if the line goes right through the middle of the note, it's sitting on top of that line. Or if it's not on a line, it might fit and sit right in there, in between those lines in the space. You can see it's not going through the middle of that line there. It's in between the lines on a space. It could come and live all the way down here over here. So remember, it can go side to side. It could be in the space right there. So the first step that we always have to do is figure out, is the note head on the line or in a space, like that one. Let's take a look at it. Is it a line or a space? It's a line. Very good. It's a line, right? It's a line. It's right there. The line goes right through the middle of the note. So now that we know it's on a line, we can think every good boy does fine, right? We can start at the bottom and count up, but we got to stop when we get to our note so we know which one it is, right? Every good boy does. Hey, we got there on does. So if it's every good boy does, then that must mean that this note is letter D, right? Letter D for every good boy does. Excellent. Easy peasy. Let's try another one. Ready? Let's take this one down and let's say we put it all the way down there. Dun, dun, dun. Now take a look at it. Think about it. Line or space? The line's going right through the middle, so it's sitting right there on top of that line, right? And it's on the very first line down there at the bottom. Now, if it's on the first line, we know we got to start from the first sentence, the first word in our sentence. Every, and we've already got that word, right? It's already every, so we know that one's going to be letter E. It's on that bottom line. What if I jump all the way up there? Whoa, line or space? That one's in a space, right? It's in between. Good job. So if that one's in a space, now I got to spell F-A-C-E, face. Now it's not in the first space, not in the second space, not in the third space. It actually goes all the way up to the fourth space. So let's spell face and get to that fourth space. F-A-C-E. Right, this one's E2. Now I know what you're thinking. Mr. Kowalski, the one you did before was all the way down there. That was E2. Right, because on the treble staff, there's a high sounding E. Remember, the closer we get to the top, the higher the sound goes. This one's that high sounding E, but there's also that low E down here on the staff. Right, just like there was an F on that top line and an F in that first space. Right, some of those letters in our musical staff, in our musical scale, repeat over and over again when we get to that staff like that. So E in the space is way up there, but E on the line is all the way down there like we did before. Let's do one more of these before we jump into a little trickier part. Ready? Let's put this guy right there. We'll put him right there like that. Line or space? It's a space. That's right. It's a space. It's in between the lines. Is it the first space? No. Is it the second space? No. Is it the third space? Yes. It is. It's the third space. So F, A, C, letter name C. Excellent. Fantastic. Great job, everybody. Now, let's change it up. Let's try something a little different. All right, everybody. And I'm back. And here we are again. So now you can probably see me and you can see what's going on our screen over here. Over here it says we have our staff champion of the treble clef. It tells us right here at the bottom directions, choose the correct name for the note on the staff, right? And here we have, right here in the center of the screen, our staff made of our 5 lines. We've got our treble clef. We've got our 4 spaces in between, and we've got our letter names down here at the bottom, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Now, like I said before, on our staff, we know we have that low E and that high E. We have that low F and that high F. But we only use the first 7 letters of the alphabet to do our musical scale, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Because after we get through A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then the pattern begins again. The scale starts over with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it continues to go higher or lower. We use those same 7 letters over and over and over again. So when we extend that staff up or down, we just follow the same pattern of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G as we extend our way up the staff. That's why there's only 7 letters right there on the musical scale. So our job now is to sit down, as we did before, and take a look at the letter names that are popping up on the staff, the notes that are there. Now, these notes also are going to have stems on them. We talked about those, take a look at those notes there. We can see that there's a stem on there, and that stem gives it that rhythmic value, that rhythmic duration, whether it's a quarter note, the combination of the note heads and the stems make it a quarter note, a half note, a whole note, those different notes you might have talked about. You might have talked about tas or titis with your classroom teacher and your music teacher as well. So this note right here is what we're going to take a look at. But when we look at those notes on the staff, we have to look to see where the note head is. Just like we did on our big staff back here, we look at the circle. We look at the round part of the note head, to figure out which note it is. So if I come over here and check it out, that round note head looks to me like it is in a space. You guys agree with that? Yeah, it is. It's in a space. So just like before, if it's in a space, we got to spell the word face. We got to figure out which space it's in. This one's in the first space. Right there, first space. So first space is going to be letter F. So I need to jump down here to my letters down here at the bottom and click F. If I'm correct, it should tell me I'm correct. Yes, we're correct with F. Excellent. So there's our letter F right there. We got it correct. Now click this arrow over here on my screen. I can jump ahead. It's going to give us a new one like this. Ooh, line or space. It's in a space. That's right. It's in the first space. No, it's not. Second space? Yes, it is. Awesome. So it's right there in the second space. So we take a look there in the second space, and that means it's going to be letter A. Right. So I'm going to here and click A. Let's see if we're correct. Correct, letter A. Wonderful. Awesome. Let's click over here. Correct, and see what's going to come up next for us. Got them all mixed up here. Lines, spaces all around. Let's see. Whoa, we've gone way up high there at the top of the staff. Oh, my goodness. Now is it a line or a space? It's a line, so we got to change over. We got to do every good boy does fine. So let's see. Every good boy does. What letter name should I click in there? Letter F? Sure. All right, let's try and see if we're correct. Yes, awesome. 3 in a row. Fantastic job. Awesome. Now, the great thing about this is if I click over to another one, if it's not correct, it's going to let me try again. Like if I look at this one and say, oh, I know what that one is. That one's on a line. That's going to be easy. It's E. Try again. Oh, and it takes that one out. I can't do that one anymore. Right? Try again, try again, try again. That was not the right one. So it's not letter E. So what should I do? E. Every. G. Did you say G? I thought you said G. Ah, there we go. Correct. Now it still shows me. Oops, I made that mistake. I got that one wrong. But it gives me a chance to try again. So we'll try again on that one. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Hey, Mr. Kowalski, why don't we just do this? We don't know which one it is. Just click all of them until you get the right one. Yeah. Oh, hey, look, I got it right. No, it doesn't work that way. You can't just go through life clicking on any old thing, seeing if it's right or wrong until you finally get the right answer. Use that brain you got in there and figure it out so we can get it right on the first try instead. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and wipe that one out. We're not even gonna count that one. We're coming back and do this one. Ready? Ooh, let's take a look at this one here. Now, line or space. Okay, it's in a space. So F-A-C-E. Which one of those spaces? Ah, I heard something out there say it. Letter C. There it is. Letter C. Wonderful job. You're getting it. Fantastic. See, it's easy peasy. Easy peasy. You guys got this thing. Now, if you are interested in playing an instrument in 4th grade, right? If you're playing one of those instruments with your band teacher or an instrument with an orchestra teacher, this is going to help you out so much because you're going to start playing these note names. Your band teacher or your orchestra teacher might have already jumped in and started working on this stuff with you here. This is going to help you out with some great practice. So let's see what comes up next. All right. Oh, dude, we had this one already. Second space. Come on, we got this one. This is easy. Remember from the story? Little Miss A. I remember that too. Yeah, A from the story. Good job. Let's do another one because we already had that one before. Dude, we had this one before too. Second line, right? Second line. Now we know wherever that curly Q is on the treble clef, we know that we can find that one is always going to be G. See, even I remember that one. I'm an old guy, and even I remember that one. All right, let's check it out. Another one. Dude, we had this one too. We want to find a new one. They keep giving us the same ones over and over again. Third space, F-A-C. Yeah, you guys are way too fast at this stuff too. All right, let's try another one. Now, I'm not picking these. I promise. I swear. It's the computer that's doing it, but we've had this one already, right? Letter G, second line. Come on, computer. Give us a challenge. Give us something a little bit harder. That's the third space again. Come on, give us something a little bit trickier than this. All right. Change it up on us. Still a space. Yes, fantastic, awesome. So they are giving us some. They're trying to get a little trickier, but wait a second. I see down here it says game mode. Game mode. Let's check it out. I haven't tried this yet. Ooh, we got a score. 0 so far. That's not such a good score. But there's a timer on it. Choose the correct name for the note on the staff. I guess we got 30 seconds. 30 seconds. How many do you think we can get? All right, ready? Okay, start. Now when you know it, you call it out. You tell me. Ready? Here it comes. Okay, we did that one before. We did it. All right, we got one. We did it. We did one before too. Okay, call it out. Call it. Come on, come on, come on. Second space. Yes, there you go. Awesome. Try this one. Yes, yes. Keep going. Come on, come on, come on. Bring it on, bring it on. Bring it, bring it, bring it. 10 seconds. We're halfway there. Every good boy. Done. Okay. Come on, come on, come on. We're done. Space F. All right, we got 5 correct. Play again to improve your score. Can we improve that score? We can only improve that score if you really call those out right away when you know them. Come on now, let's get this. Let's see if we can beat 5. All right, here it comes. Ready? Game face on. Take game face on. All right, here it comes. You call it out. Come on, I gotta hear it. Good, 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 good. We had that one. We had that one a lot. Yeah. Okay. Right, there's the curly cue of the treble clef. Good. Oh, we got this. We got this. Oh, first line. Come on, first line. Scaredy cat. You know him. There it was. Awesome. Okay, that was a line. Okay, another line. Oh, same one. Hey, 7. Not bad. Give yourself a pat on the back. Awesome job. Wonderful. Awesome. Now, here's the deal. If you are one of those band or orchestra members, finding these letters out on the staff is going to help you out so much because your band teacher is going to show you. If you see that note named B and you're playing a trumpet, you've got to make sure that you get the fingering right, and you've got to make sure that you get all the buttons right there to play that right number. To play that B, right? You got to hold your fingers in just the right place for it. When you see another letter on there, they're going to say the letter C. You're going to see a letter C. You got to play. Okay, if I'm going to play C, I got to put my fingers like this and play that C. Or whether it's a violin, clarinet, whatever it is. Even if you're playing it on the bells for a drummer and you're playing it as a percussionist and you're playing it on the bells, you got to see the note that's on the staff, figure out what it is in your head, find it and play it at the same time according to that rhythm. So this treble clef review is going to be great for you guys who are joining band and orchestra. If you're not in band and orchestra, don't worry about it. It's going to be great for you too. If you still got your recorder or something like that at home, pull that recorder out, try some of these letter names on that as well. Right? But my time's up for today, so I want to make sure that I let you guys head back to class with your other teacher as well. Great work today. Okay, good job. I heard some of you really doing a good job calling out those answers and giving me those answers for that treble clef review. Next week, come back. We'll have something new, something different. I think you're really going to like it. All right. I will see you guys again next time. See ya.